the year 2014, the total allocation given to women ministry is 2.2 billion. But for the year 2015, the allocation only increased slightly, that is like 2.7% to 2.26 billion. Okay, that is only the increase of 60 million only. As an average, our budget size actually increased for 3.7%. However, for women ministry, the increase is only 2.7%, which means it's below average. In contrast, the budget or the allocation for PN office for the year 2014 is 264 billion. And for the coming year, the budget for him will be increased to, for this year, the budget for PN office is 16.45 billion. And for next year, the budget for PN office will be increased to 16 billion. And that is an increase of 15%, close to 16%. So I think the increment getting by the women ministry speak for itself. And not to forget that out for this 2.26 billion received by the women ministry, a huge portion of it will be used for social welfare and not merely for women. So from one, I think the allocation received by the women ministry is rather insignificant to show that our government is indeed paying enough attention for the women. And secondly, while we are still not sure, out of this 2.26 billion, how much will be really spent for the welfare and the empowerment of women, I noticed that the Institute for the Empowerment of Women, the allocation that they are getting has been slashed. In the year 2014, the budget they get is at 8.4 million. But however, for the coming year, the budget it get is only 3.2 million. That is a reduction of 60%. And other than that, even though in the budget, our Prime Minister mentioned about various types of programs, for example, Young Professional Women Entrepreneurs Development Program, Strengthening Women Directors Program, and Women Career Comeback Program, I must say that non-professional women are actually being neglected. We do not mention about them, and we have no plan. It seems like the government has no plan to actually further empower them. Other than that, another policy that is mentioned by Najib in his speech is the childcare leave. Childcare leave actually is not something new. From the year 2007, public servants or the civil servant actually they can get childcare leave for up to 5 years. And according to the percolating at that point of time, they can either get it and use it at one time, or they can actually use it and apply for it at several times. However, it seems like for next year, starting from next year, it's stated there in the budget that from January 1st next year, the leave is limited to children until they reach 1 year. So it seems to me that we can only apply for the childcare leave for the maximum a year. So I do not see this as an improvement, because to me, first of all, the mother should be able to choose whether she wants to stay with the child until she is 1 year old, 2 year old, and further. I think there are there can be some other occasion where actually the mother decide to go back to the family when the kid actually is like 3 year old, 4 year old, 5 year old. Depends on the necessity. So when the Najib, in his speech actually mentioned that the childcare leave is limited to children until they reach 1 year, I do not see it as an improvement. It puzzles me why we need to limit it to the children until the children is reach their 1 year old. Secondly, I'm suggesting that the childcare leave should be extended to the fathers as well. Okay? I think these days we always emphasize that the responsibility to look after the children belongs to both parents. It's not only the mother's duty to look after the children, it should be both the father and the mother's duty to take care of the children. However, the current policy doesn't help for us to actually change the stereotype that it is only the responsibility for the women to take care of the children. And therefore, I suggest that since this childcare leave is tanpa gaji, is without pay, so I think this childcare leave should be extended to the male civil servant. So the parents actually can choose. Either the mother wants to stay in the family to take care of the children, or sometimes it could be the father who prefer to stay at home to take care of the children. I think this option should be given to our male civil servant as well.